Zach.
I'm Bruce.
And welcome to Pathway Stones Podcast. Life leaves marks on us all. Some are victories, some are failures, and some are wounds along the way that we never saw coming. Along the way, every experience places a stone in our path. The question is, what will we do with those things? Will they become barriers that hold us back, or pathways that lead us toward truth, purpose, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of God? Each week, Bruce and I will sit down for real conversation about faith, life, struggle, family, culture, and the lessons that we both learned along the way. No scripts, no polished performances, just honest discussions about the things that matter the most. So grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and join us as we explore the stories, scriptures, and experiences that have helped shape our lives and our journey along the way. This is Pathway Stones Podcast. So welcome, Bruce.
Glad to be here.
I'm glad to be here too. Actually, you should be the one welcoming me because we are in this beautiful studio in your house. Thank you for hosting this.
Absolutely.
I'm super excited about doing this project with you. We've known each other about 5 years.
That's right.
And in that past 5 years, I've gone from not really liking you to absolutely loving you, and you becoming one of my best friends. You and your wife are definitely an answer to prayer for our family. And along the way, I've had the opportunity of listening to some of your story. And I'm just going to tell you right now, they should make a feature-length movie of your life.
Could I star in it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can do the voices. I'm thinking Hanna-Barbera would be the best place to pitch this, because I'll be honest with you, some of the things that we're going to talk about, especially in the future episodes, rival the best episodes of Yogi Bear. I mean, there's some really great stories. How about we do this? This is our very first podcast, so let's lay out some foundational things. Let's just tell a little bit about who we are. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
Yeah. So my name's Bruce. Bruce Good. I've been retired a couple of times.
A couple of times. Yeah.
I was an executive for medical business. I was in that business for basically my whole career. Retired early from that. Moved down here to Georgia.
All right.
From northern Illinois, because I couldn't stand the cold anymore.
Because you couldn't stand the cold.
I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
And I've had, I've worked for 2 or 3 companies, but basically in the same field. And I raise dogs now.
You raise dogs.
Yes.
Specifically Bernedoodles.
Doodles. Yep.
Or Doodles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Run a very successful business called Doodles on the Ridge, making happiness show up at multiple households. I know several people that that have some of your dogs, and they love them.
It's been a fun gig.
Oh yeah. Actually, it's been we've had an up close view of the past 5 years. My oldest son has worked out here with you, and
That's right.
and now my youngest son, and occasionally my daughter will come in and take pictures of dogs.
Right,
And
right.
You and Karen have become very close friends. I would say best friends. You may argue with me a little bit about that.
Well, you have a few best friends.
I do.
But I'm honored to be one of them.
So I have a bucket of best friends, and you guys are definitely in that bucket. I come from a pastor's home. Me and my wife have been in the ministry for 20-something years. Our journey has looked a lot different than most people's journey in ministry. We have 4 kids and live in this beautiful area. We've been here 5 years. Matter of fact, you guys were probably some of the first couples that we met up here. Mm-hmm. And my youngest son had the great honor of being in your wife's classroom, and that's where you kind of stepped into the scene. One of the things that I love about you is that you donate your time and you invest in the kids, and to me there's no greater investment than anybody can make. Right. So the first day that I met you, and I'm just going to go down memory lane a little bit if that's allowed.
Okay. Yeah,
I remember walking in and not knowing anybody, and knowing no parents, this is our first year being in Blue Ridge, and we walk into the halls of West Fannin Elementary, and walk into my son's homeroom class. which also she taught him, was it science?
She taught math.
Math.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. That's what her and my wife shares. They have a love for problems, and probably why they married us.
Exactly.
So we walk in and meet Karen, and immediately fell in love. Karen is one of those types of people that the moment that you walk in, the moment that you just engage in conversation, you can't help falling in love with her. If there's anybody out there that says they don't like Karen Good, I'm probably going to start wondering what's wrong with him, because she's a good person, right? And
way out of my league.
we both out punted our coverage for sure. And then we walk outside and going to the next classroom, and there's this curmudgeon just set up in the middle of the hall, and he's got some notebooks and some vials, and he's kind of kicked back in his chair, and he has this devil may come attitude, just not really caring about if you want to stop and talk, you can talk. If not, and I look over there and I'm like, I ask a couple questions, and I got very blunt, short answers. Not a whole lot of Southern hospitality,
Because I'm not from the
because
South.
you're not from the South. And I think to myself, who is this guy? Man, I really don't like him. And come to find out, it was you. Several years, about a year or so later, you and your wife come waltzing into the doors of our church, and just began a journey of friendship that
right.
that me and my wife just absolutely cherish. You guys have been there with us through some very difficult times. We've been there with you guys through some pretty scary times, and just saw God just show up in all of it. And our conversation is going to share a lot about that. And I just want you to know that you guys are definitely answers to our prayers. And I want to thank you ahead of time for just pouring into our lives, pouring into our kids' lives, and being just a great example of a godly man. So I
Well,
just wanna
that
thank
goes
so
both
much.
ways. We've enjoyed the ride so
Yeah,
far.
it's been pretty fun.
It has been.
And it doesn't hurt that both of our wives are foodies, and
That's
they
right.
drag us all over the place. So, so we're talking the name of our podcast is called Pathway Stones. I remember getting into your car on the first fishing adventure that we had.
That's right. We've had many so far.
Had several, and I've gotten quite adept at holding my own in the boat. I don't get outfished too many times. There are days where definitely you show up. There are days where I show up. There are days that we've both been skunked. But I remember getting in the car that first day, a little apprehensive because I didn't know anything about you. And I did what any red-blooded American would do. The moment that you got out of the car to go get a bag of ice, I started snooping with what was in plain sight. I didn't go in any drawers or anything.
You didn't open up any compartments.
No compartments,
Yeah, okay,
no.
that's good to know.
I looked down and I saw this card that said Pathway Stones, and it piqued my interest, especially when I noticed that you have done some consulting and some leadership development type stuff in your past, and that you had a passion for that, and immediately my interest was sparked. Will you tell us a little bit about where that idea comes from?
Yeah, so basically it came from my childhood, which we're going to talk about that a little bit today. But the concept was we're all going to have stones in our life,
Right.
right? And nobody's exempt from that.
Yeah.
But it's what you do with those, right? You can make them so they're barriers, and you have to climb over them, or they block your way, or you take those stones and you make them into pathways that you can walk on in the direction that the Lord wants you to go.
Gotcha. So, this idea from this podcast comes from just really the things that you've learned in life,
Right.
and a lot of the leadership and building of people's character, and the investing that you do in other people's lives. These are lessons that obviously you picked up along the way.
That's right. Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Southern Illinois, in contrast to, say, anywhere below the Mason-Dixon line?
Well, it was colder.
A lot
little
colder?
bit.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a family that didn't have much,
All right.
right? So, my dad was a steel worker. He had fourth grade or eighth grade education, smoked himself to death and drank himself to death and worked shift work. So, and my mom was, I have to say, she was a preacher's daughter, but she was not a loving mother. I mean, there's no really other way to say it. I mean, that's just what it was. And so that was kind of the environment. We had no money. A lot of times we had meals that we didn't want to eat, like liver and onions every week. I hate liver and onions then. I hate it now. And when things really, really were bad, we had my mom's world famous tomato soup, which was hot water, ketchup squirted in it, and some crackers. So it was a little tough.
Sounds difficult.
It was, and my family. I had two older sisters.
Yeah.
My family members, we didn't really do a lot of stuff together. I mean, I can really say that my relationship with my dad, even though I know he loved me, was kind of distant.
You said he worked shift work. He
did. Yeah.
And I know, coming from a household where my dad worked shift work a little bit, my experience is that you had to be very careful which side of the house you played on when he was working night shift.
That's right.
And I'm sure there was a level of creativity that had to be cultivated, especially when you're having to play quiet games and you're having to. Right. And your sisters, you said, were a good bit older than you.
That's correct.
So, what kind of things were you into as a child? I mean,
I liked sports.
Yeah,
I like sports a lot.
Baseball, football.
Baseball, football was my favorite. I
All
played
right.
pretty much everything. One of the things that is a highlight though. From my childhood is not one time ever were any of my family members at any of my sporting events.
Oh, wow.
Never happened.
Wow.
And when the neighbor kids couldn't play with me, I was by myself, right? And if they were playing ball with their dad, I'm playing ball by myself, right? I mean, that's just what it was. And so you had to make some decisions about what you were going to do to amuse yourself.
So what were the things that motivated you? I mean, obviously, it wasn't to seek the approval of, if there was nobody there watching you. I mean, what was it that drove you to compete? What was it that drove you to do better on the football field, on the baseball field, and those areas?
Yeah, so I think you wanted to prove yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think there was a lot to do with it. I mean, you wanted somebody to notice, right? And so you kind of tried your hardest to be as good as you could possibly be so that somebody would notice you. But you kind of realized that it wasn't going to be your family.
Wow. Man, that had to sting.
It did. But I can tell you what, and we're going to talk about this more today and probably other times. And the fact is, I don't regret my childhood.
Oh, wow. That's a heavy statement. There's nothing you would go back and change.
I wouldn't. And part of the reason is, and I really think this is the whole reason. The whole reason that Pathway Stones was formed was the fact that you can make decisions with what you have.
Yeah.
And you're either going to thrive or you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
And my belief is this, very simple. Adversity and strife helps you form skills.
Wow.
And the reason I can say I don't regret those times, even though they were hard, is that what I've become came from that environment. And you can do one of two things, right? If there's a lot, I'll use this analogy.
Is this
the horse analogy?
Yeah.
The pony analogy.
I kind of like this one, honestly.
Okay, so if there's a lot of horse manure around, you can be really upset about that. Or you can take my view, which is if there's a lot of horse manure around here, there's got to be a pony around here somewhere. Right?
Right.
So I'm a very optimistic guy, and that optimism came from my environment.
Do you think that was something that was that was a learned perspective, or do you think that it was partially something that you were born with? I mean,
Probably a little of both.
A little of both?
I think that if you're somebody who wants to be successful and you strive to do best and you want to have a good outlook on life, part of that is going to be what your drive is, and part of it is going to be what's your nature.
What's your nature? Okay. I've seen so many people that have been through very similar circumstances that you're talking about, whether they've been abandoned by their parents, or whether their parents were there and they were just absentee type parents.
Right.
And various situations, various circumstances in life, people come to the other side of those experiences, those tough seasons, those things that we've identified as stones, and they come out of those moments with a victim mentality. It's very easy to allow our circumstances to define who we are, right? And what I'm hearing you say is that we have a choice. We can either let it define who we are, or we can let it refine us.
Right, and I think that's a good way to put it, because let me say it this way. I want to be real clear. My childhood is not the worst childhood.
Right.
There's people whose stories are much, much worse than mine, and I can appreciate that. But it's what you do with the cards that you're dealt, right? I turned my environment into a learning ground that helped me become successful in life.
Explain a little bit about that. Give us a couple of examples of
Sure.
the things that you picked up as a child and through your experiences that helped you become successful later in life.
Okay, so when you're by yourself all the time, Zach, you have to be creative to come up with ways to amuse yourself, right? You just do. So I invented games that had never been invented before. I would come up with a new type of ball game, sports activity that I invented. I would write plays.
Wow.
I would develop songs, things like that. And that was because those were ways that I could amuse myself. Yeah. So, and how did that turn out? Well, in my career, one of the things that made me very successful is the fact that I was one of the most creative people around. I could come up with a million ideas about how to deal with a problem, and that wouldn't have happened had I not been in the environment I was in when I was a kid.
So you didn't come out and say it, but just because of knowing the end of the story and knowing your story a little bit, you've led a lot of very successful teams.
I have,
and have been surrounded by a lot of great leadership and had some really good leaders on your teams. Is the creativity, is that the thing that really caused you to stand out and just?
I think it was one. I think another one that really comes to mind is I developed a leadership mentality. Shoot, the neighbor kids would do whatever I wanted. If we wanted to play, if I wanted to play this game, that's what we did.
Well, if you're writing the plays, then obviously the voice that the characters need to.
And so that carried into my adult life, right? Where I had the privilege to lead a lot of teams that were very successful in my career.
Having heard a little bit more of your story, and it just blows me away that someone could have experienced a lot of the tough seasons that you've walked through, and come out unscathed. There had to be someone in your life that really stands out, that just kind of helped solidify some of that. Did most people have that one teacher? I have my 10th grade English teacher. I would say outside of my mother and father and my close family, she's probably the person who is most responsible for me being who I am today. Did you have a?
I did, yeah.
Louise Hetzel or someone like that?
Yeah. So my sophomore year of high school, my parents split. Right. My dad was a heavy drinker, lost his job. He just, it was just a really, really bad situation, and so they split. So my sophomore year of high school was probably my toughest time, where I had to make some decisions.
Wow.
Right. I had a biology teacher. I was a very good science student. That I ended up being a biochemist, so that I had to be pretty good at that.
Right.
And I had a biology teacher who kind of understood my situation and was able to say, you know what, it's all going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And sometimes I would do an experiment, and I would do it in a different way, and it was not following the instructions, but I thought, well, I got a different way of doing it. He'd look at that and goes, you know what? That's absolutely great. You did it in a different way, and you got to the right answer, and man, that shows you've got something there. And that helped me get to a point where I could say, you know what? I'm not going to be constrained by the circumstances.
Right.
I'm not going to let that impact me in such a way that I can't get beyond my childhood.
Yeah. That's such a powerful statement there, because there are a lot of people that are struggling, and if you look at the root of the struggles that they're facing, it all goes back to not being able to get past a mother wound, a father wound,
right.
And not to lessen or not to take away from those experiences, but each of those experiences leave us with a choice.
Right.
And that choice is, what are you going to do with this experience?
Yeah, so let's talk about that for just a minute, if I could. I don't regret what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have regrets in life. I'm not going to lie to you. We all do.
Right.
I don't regret my childhood, because I would not be who I am without it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to be successful had I not gone through what I went through. But, and I think there's examples like in the scriptures of people just like that. A good example of somebody who had to dig through a lot of manure, if I can use that term, was Joseph.
Oh, yeah, I love Joseph's story.
He got sold by his brothers.
Yeah.
They went and told his dad that he was dead. Took his coat, I think, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
His favorite coat.
Yeah, his favorite coat. He ended up a slave, got sold into Egypt, kind of pulled himself out of the mire. Then he was involved with Potiphar, and Potiphar's wife framed him.
Absolutely. Lied about it.
He ended up in prison.
Oh, because of a lie.
Because of a lie. It wasn't even
that
something he
did.
did.
Yeah.
Because of a lie. And where does he end up?
Ends up as number 2 only to Pharaoh.
Number 2 only to Pharaoh in Egypt. He saved the entire country from famine.
Yeah.
He saved his family. But he saw an awful lot of manure. But he was somebody who said, you know what, there's got to be a pony. Got to be a pony around here somewhere.
So often we get so dialed into the manure.
Right.
And it's not that dealing with that stuff is easy, because it stinks. I mean, manure literally stinks.
Exactly.
And it's messy. And but if we handle those things correctly, and I was thinking about, so I've got several soapboxes, right? And I won't get on any of them right now, with the exception of this one, because I think it's a little bit relevant. I've always been one of those that have been opposed to participation trophies, and the reason being is I don't feel like that we teach our children or that we allow ourselves the opportunities to fail in safe places, and that if we don't know how to fail in the safe places and how to allow those things to, as Waterboy would say, become tackling fuel, and push us forward. If we don't use those safe places and those, when I say safe places, I'm not saying that they don't hurt.
Right.
But the areas that when we fail in safe places, it's still going to hurt. It's still going to sting. But if we learn how to take those things to the right place,
That's right.
And process it the right way, we don't end up with alcoholics. We don't end up with addicts.
Right. I mean, think about it. I could have decided that I was going to be just like my
Absolutely.
I could have, I'm going to, my dad's got addiction issues. I could be just like
Statistics say that you're 9 times more likely, to walk that path out.
So I'm with you on that. I don't think you get trophies for participating. I think you give trophies for having outcomes.
Right. Yeah. I think that people need to understand that these tough seasons in our life, these tough moments that we face, whether we come through them on our feet or we come through them on our butt when we get to the other side of them. The important part is that we come through it.
That's right.
It reminds me of a scripture that talks about when you've done all that you can do to stand therefore. And what the writer there was saying is if you're going to find we're all going to find ourselves in a fight at some point.
That's right.
And if those fights just come out of nowhere and take you by surprise, you do whatever you got to do to come out standing on the other side.
That's right.
And then the writer goes into how to prepare yourself for the next fight, because the next fight is going to come.
That's right.
These difficult times are going to come. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we face these stones in our life.
That's right. And what do you do with those?
And then what are we going to do with those things? Are we going to allow those things to become stumbling blocks for the rest of our life? Or are we going to put them in the hands of a God that knows how to put things in perspective and knows how to order our steps and allow those stones to become pavement for our prosperity and for our future, right?
Another thing, Pat, Zach, I'd like to mention is the fact that you're not going to have just one stone.
Oh no.
You're going to get more.
How can you pave with just one stone?
Right. That's the point. How can you pave with just one stone, or do you want to keep climbing over 2 or 3 or 4 obstacles all the time?
Right. Yeah. It's definitely a matter of process.
That's right.
And each of us have that decision about what are we going to do with those difficult times. And I think our heart is that when we face those things, I don't know what I would have done without my faith. Now I heard you say that your mother was a pastor's daughter. Right. And I imagine there was faith involved somewhere along the way.
Yeah. I mean, she kept us in church.
Right.
And that was a very important part of my life. I got saved at a relatively young age, and I believed that. And so I think part of the formula here is understanding that if you have faith, it's going to help you figure out how to take stones, make them into paths.
So I'm gonna throw a curveball at you, and this is a question that I don't know that I warned you about, because we kind of had a little bit of conversation about where we wanted to take this conversation.
Sure.
And what's your favorite Bible verse? I told you I was going to throw you a curveball, right?
Okay. So I don't know the verse numbers,
right,
but it's in Proverbs.
Yeah.
And it's about a path.
Yeah.
It says that there is a path to a man that seems right.
Right.
But it can lead to destruction.
Yeah.
Right? So when I think about that, it's piling up boulders leads to destruction. Right? But it's your choice about what you do with that.
Yeah. It reminds me of one of my favorite verses. And again, you'll have to give me a pass on this, because when I talk about favorites, I have buckets. Like my best friends, I put all of them in a bucket. But
I didn't have a chance to plan for this one,
I know you didn't. You did a great job knocking that out of the park, by the way. One of my favorite verses is found in Romans 8, and it says that God causes all things to work together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And if you're out there and you're listening, and you're hearing us talk about these experiences, we just want to give you hope. We want you to know that no matter what circumstances you're facing, no matter what situations or no matter what stones you find laying in your path, we want you to know that you're not alone, and that every single person is dealing with very similar situations, and that we've all have stones.
Right. That's right.
Maybe they're from your childhood. Maybe they're from a failed marriage or a betrayal. Maybe those stones come from mistakes that we've made personally.
Right.
We want you to know, and we want to encourage you not to waste those things. Man, those lessons are too hard to waste.
That's right. And they don't come all that often
in
a lot of people's lives. So you got to take advantage of them when they come.
And they're too valuable.
That's right.
Too much. There was too much blood, sweat, and tears that we had to expend to get through those moments. And they're not easy. don't think for a second. Don't look at what God has done in our lives or anyone else's lives right now and think that they just happen to stumble into that without dealing with difficult stones.
Right.
We want you to know that God has a way of taking those stones and turning those stones into pathways. My mom has a very similar ideology, and this one of the things that I began to love about you early on was, and this is the way that she taught me, was that there are going to be things that come up in your life that that can either become tools or stumbling blocks, and that we all wear tool belts, and our choice is whether we bend down, pick up those things, put them in our tool belt, or we just leave them laying around and we trip over those things, and those tools become things we can help people with down the road.
Right.
So we just wanted to take a few moments and just share a little bit about our story, a little bit about our journey, and just be an encouragement to you. I will say this. I'm very excited about the upcoming episodes.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, our plan is that we're going to be doing a podcast every week. And we have some very exciting stories that are coming up. The next one, I don't think you really want to miss the next three. They're all linked together. And you can learn more about what we're doing. I mean, we have books that are coming. Obviously, the podcasts. We're available to come and talk to people and about what's going on in our lives and some of the stories that can be turned into speaking engagements. I've done it several times. You can reach out to me through Pathway Stones Partnership Facebook page. You can look us up on LinkedIn.
Yep.
We're in the process of getting the website completed, so there's a lot of neat things coming from us, and it's all about trying to take our experiences and help you with yours.
So should we give them a teaser about some of the stuff to come?
Yeah, you talk about it next week?
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
Tune in. We love you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and let God do those things in your life that He wants to do. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.